Well, we just heard that demand for graphite, remember it's a form of carbon, generally a very soft form. It's on the rise, all kinds of new applications emerging, but we also need new sources of supply. Now, Greg Bowes is CEO of a company called Northern Graphite. He joins us now from Ottawa for a look at his development plans for the Bissett Creek graphite project between North Bay and Ottawa. Hi there, Greg.
Good morning.
Greg, if somebody meets you, you're talking to somebody at a bus stop and they say, what are you trying to do with Northern Graphite? What do you tell them? Give us the 60 or 30-second rundown, if you would.
Well, we're trying to build a mine. It will be the first new graphite mine of substance in the world in probably 20 years.
Wow. And one of the attractions here is that there is some infrastructure. There was a graphite mining operation there before?
No, there wasn't. But we are about 15 kilometers from the Trans-Canada Highway, so fairly close to power, water, roads, towns, natural gas pipeline. So a lot of the services that a mine requires, often if you're in the north of Canada, for example, those things are very big challenges. They're fairly routine based on our location.
Oh, I'm sorry, I was getting mixed up with that Kearney Lake mine, which is another mine near Algonquin. We're looking at some facts about your project. CapEx estimated at around $80 million. That's not too heavy for a mine these days.
That's very true. When you say that to people in the mining business, they say, why so little? A big part of that is the fact that we are close to infrastructure, as I mentioned before. For example, we don't have to build a camp to house the workers. They can commute from nearby towns. It's also a function of the fact that it is a simple open pit mine. The deposit is right at the surface, and that the processing plant is very standard industry technology for recovering graphite, so kind of no funky metallurgical issues to deal with.
Hello, Greg. Wondering if you could just remind the viewers or televiewers really what the general strategic vision of Northern Graphite going forward. Do you want your company to become a very large supplier into the battery segment, or do you see the company going towards being a supplier into the more mature kind of industrial graphite processing supply chain? And what sort of actions or can we expect out of Northern Graphite going forward to penetrate these markets? Thanks.
Yes, Matt. One of the things that makes our deposit unique is that almost every graphite mine in the world, 60 to 80% of their production is very small microflake and fines, which is generally not suitable for many of the new modern applications. With our deposit, it's almost entirely large flake graphite. So that gives us a lot of optionality to either sell into traditional markets or to turn that large flake into a product called spherical graphite, which is used in the lithium-ion battery industry. So, you know, that's a call we'll make at the time. Whichever market is more favorable, whichever one provides us with the best return, that's what we'll do with the graphite. In terms of our strategic vision, our plan is to get the mine into production in 2013, so that's next year. We're very close. We can see it doubling production within 3 to 4 years, and then doubling again after that if the graphite market grows as we expect. And that scalability is based on existing resources. It's a near-surface deposit where we can move laterally instead of deeper to increase production. Mm-hmm. And that scalability makes us unique about among graphite deposits, and has the potential to make us the largest graphite mine in the world.
Largest in the world. That's interesting. Now, you used to be a gold guy. You were with Orezone. IM Gold took them off. What got you? What turned you off gold? Got you into boring old graphite?
Well, when you're a gold bug, you never really lose that. But after IM Gold bought Orezone's flagship Essakane mine in Burkina Faso, I had some time on my hands, and I was asked to get involved in this project. A couple things attracted me to it. One is that it's 2.5 hours from my house, so I don't have to fly to Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso anymore, and my wife greatly appreciates that. Secondly, this deposit had a lot of work done on it in the 80s. It was drilled, it had a full feasibility study, it had a proven and probable reserve. That's all pre-43-101, obviously, but there's a big resource in the ground there. This is not a junior exploration story. And the third thing is that graphite has been one of the last commodities to respond to the commodity supercycle, if you will, because there was excess production capacity from China. And I could see that the same thing was happening with the graphite price and the graphite supply-demand situation, as has happened with a host of other commodities, but it was not widely recognized in the market at that time.
Let's cut you off there. Let's get in one more question quickly from Matthew.
Great, Greg. And from what we understand, the key battery customers are looking for some very specific material, graphite material, that's had some processing work done with it. Does Northern Graphite see any opportunities to participate downstream in that processing part of the value chain? And could you just tell us a little bit about where you see some of the opportunity there?
Only got about a minute, Greg. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay, absolutely. We don't want to be just bashers of rock. We want to do value-added processing. The product is called spherical graphite, so we take our graphite from the mine, additional processing before it can be used in lithium-ion batteries. We are in the very, very advanced stages of testing that process, that manufacturing process, and hope to have something to say about that within the next month or so.
We'll be watching closely. Greg, thanks so much for joining us today.
My pleasure.